No, what were you saying, Dad, about interest rates, though?
I was asking Jade, how have you found your clients, how it's affected their outlook?
Yeah, look, people are definitely, they're scared. Like everyone, it's the big unknown at the minute in the market. Yeah. And the thing is, the data that the RBA are going off at the minute, it's Christmas spending. So, look, I mean, if they were going to make me head of the RBA.
The Barney Army, your crew from the UK, the Poms, they blame them.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you hear that?
And look, if I was head of the RBA, which I mean, I'm happy to take the position if someone's given it, but I think that's not real data. That's not what they should be basing this on. That's inflated seasonal spending. But at the end of the day, they're going to make their decision. I think it will either be a hold or a small rise.
Okay. Whoa. We can't tell them straight away what we're going to do. I've got a game that we're going to play as well on that. So, guys, I think I'm just going to start from there. Welcome back to Selling Frankston. Guys, it's a little bit different here. We've got three people. We've got a special guest, Jaide Bennett, the absolute powerhouse broker. How you doing, Jade?
I'm good, thanks. How are you today?
I'm very well. How about you, Dad? How are you?
Yeah, going well.
Couple of auctions over the weekend. How are you feeling?
Yeah, voice is a little bit croaky. But,
it does sound. I was actually going to say that today. I noticed that you've too many yelling out, trying to get bids from people. So now, guys, we're on the verge. The RBA are going to sit down tomorrow. So we're shooting this on the Monday. RBA sit down Tuesday. Jade, would you like to be able to sit down and tell them what to do and say, let's hold those rates? Or what are we thinking that the RBA are going to do?
Absolutely. I think that's every broker's dream, would be able to, step in or, know what's happening beforehand. But it really is the big unknown with the RBA. They are going to do what they're going to do regardless of anybody's opinion on it. And I think a lot of what's happening in the market, though, at the minute is that people are scared. Yeah. And I don't really think that they should be.
When you say people are scared, is it the buyers or the sellers that are scared?
For me, from what I'm seeing from my clients, which obviously I am a lot more involved on the buying side, is definitely the first home buyers. They're worried. Are they going to be able to afford it? How many more rises might be coming? It's just the uncertainty of it. And then again, your investors, and you'd probably notice this with the options and stuff you've been holding over the weekend, they're pulling back a little bit. They're a bit more cautious, I'd say.
Okay.
I completely agree with that. I mean, we had a few people that were pretty much locked and loaded for a few of our auctions, and they go, oh, you know what, interest rates are going to come down, or they're going to go up. It's just that little bit of fear in the market that it seems like people do follow into that fear. Have you seen that across the board from your business and a lot of the other brokers as well?
Absolutely. And the amount of phone calls that I was receiving, when this talk kind of started to enter the market, being like, should we fix? Should we do this? And I think a lot of it can be ridden out. And we always knew that we weren't going to be going back down to the 3% interest rates that we previously had.
Absolutely.
But I think people are just wondering how much further is this going to go?
Yeah. I think the key that a lot of people that I'm talking to at the moment, it's not going to be the RBA or the government's talking potential to maybe a 3 interest rate hike potentially for 2026, unlike it was a couple of years ago where there was month in, and I think they actually changed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they change it from catching up every month to now every 6 weeks? Is it every 6 weeks they catch up now?
Yeah, so it does change, especially from where it was at.
Yeah.
They do have a schedule in place, and maybe I'll send that, guys, to you as well.
Yeah,
so it's
great.
good to have that calendar on hand just to see when they're coming up. But
Yeah.
All right, Dad. Now you've seen a lot. You've been in this you've got all the grey hairs in the world. You've seen a lot of market changes. You've seen the cycles. You've seen the ups, the downs. You've been in it for 2.5 decades now. What do you think? How do you think interest rates and the cash rate affect how buyers bid on properties, turn up to properties? What have you seen in your experience?
Well, look, I think from my experience, the first thing is the RBA. If the market's going quite hot, if it's hot, the lever that they'll always go to is the interest rate rise. So we've seen that it's a common thread in terms of buyer sentiment. There's no doubt, like what you're saying, Jade. I think the first home buyers, anything under $1 million, is still subpar. Like it's still pretty hot, but the buyer sentiment from the investors, they're going to pull back a little bit. The savvy investors, funny enough, Warren Buffett come out and once said, when things get tough, that's when buyers withdraw, that's when you go in and buy. And I think right now, that's my advice to most buyers, that if they're thinking, I'm just going to wait for the market to drop and they're trying to sort of get a discount, that doesn't happen. I've actually seen a client do that where they said, we've got, he was quite analytical, had all these charts. He said, I think the interest rates, I'm going to bet against it. I'm going to sell my 4-bedroom house. Interest rates are going up. I'm going to take my money out. And he couldn't buy back in 12 months later because the market took off.
Yeah.
So whether it was some other economic thing that the government I think it was around the time when first home buyers grant was introduced, all of a sudden it took off like wildfire. And he went from living in a 4-bedroom home, affluent pocket of Frankston South, had to get a 2-bedroom unit in Frankston South. So
So as a seller right now, obviously, because the media come out, they make it pretty clear as to what's going to happen in the market. They're saying, rates are going to go up. What would you be suggesting if you're a buyer? Would you be saying feed into that? This is a question for both of you. Would you say feed into that, or would you say, look, like you just said with the Warren Buffett analogy, buy when everyone isn't buying, or try and take that sort of better outlook instead of playing into the fear?
I think for me, the best time to buy is now, always. Like Australia has such a strong property market, and I think that, yes, there could be, potential couple of different interest rate rises over this next year, but I don't think it's going to stretch people to the position that they think it is. As long as you are doing the right thing and you're using a good broker, and you are getting that servicing done correctly, then what brokers do is they don't just assess your serviceability on now. They do it with a 3% buffer. So a broker will look at your borrowing power and how well you can service that loan if the interest rates were 3% higher. And we know we're not going to go 3% higher in the next year. So if you're using a good broker and you're using accurate data and you're staying within your actual means, then there shouldn't be that fear.
That's great. That's great advice.
That's great.
What we're seeing, Jaide, in particular down here in the 3199 postcode, anything under $1 million, we are seeing a lot of young families coming in that are tradies. So my point, and I always say that to a lot of the buyers, are like, should I be buying? And I'm like, guys, if you're going to improve the asset, so if you buy a property here for $850 and you got stamps and it takes you just under $900K, all the legals, etc., but then you're going to improve the property in a couple of years' time, it's actually going to be worth a lot more than what you paid for. And in actual fact, you could probably go see your broker, get refinanced after you've done a full reno.
Absolutely.
And see your agent. We will be able to come out and say, geez, wow, look, you've really improved the property. You're comfortable, get this. And then if you need to borrow, that's where, go and speak to your broker. And, so we do see a lot of those sort of buyers out in the marketplace at the minute. So I think it's horses for courses, I think. So, but as you said, key word, serviceability.
Yeah. And on that as well, like you said, when they're doing that refinance assessment, and it could be a couple of years down the track, you've then got a couple of ways to go. You've either got equity that you can use towards another purchase, be that investment purchase or maybe upgrading your current PPOR. Or you can just simply basically reduce your LVR, which will mean better interest rates for you, because the lower the LVR, the lower amount that you owe against the value of that property, the lower your interest rate's going to be. Great
call. That's a good point. And Josh, from your perspective, the buyers, we had 2 auctions, and you're in the coalface, you're in the trenches. That the first property was sort of, a beautiful unit. One at 190 Caribbean Drive,
absolutely stunning value.
Mini house. Look, it felt
320
like
square meters. The backyard, the alfresco, the deck area. I don't know why it didn't get sold.
So question to you: how
stupid rates? Sorry.
You should have heard what he said Saturday morning when we were having a coffee, when he knew there was a couple of buyers that pulled out. But
you care. You want to make sure you represent a seller. It's no different to Jaide. You're representing, people who are, buying, selling, all that sort of stuff, and helping them. So you just want to see them, get a successful result. It annoys me. So.
I think interest rates are great from a selling perspective, because more sellers have to become a lot more realistic in the marketplace.
Yeah.
The Hail Mary price at the moment, if you were to put it on, like sometimes we're still able to get them, but you've got to have that buyer pool to be able to pull from
Correct.
there.
Do you think that there's going to be a bit of, obviously with the fear, do you reckon sellers are going to go, okay, is this sort of that, we're at that peak in the market right now? Or do you think, KPMG came out and predicted that Melbourne is going to go up over 13% over the next 2 years. I would actually agree with that, especially down this way. I don't think we're going to see the growth like we have over the last year. Do you think that the market, will more sellers come on the market just due to the rate rise if it does happen?
Look, I think what Jaide said, if you can buy now, while interest rates, do what Warren Buffett says. Like, if you're turning on the TV and watching all the fear mongering, you'll never buy. You'll never buy. And I've seen so many people go, "I don't do this," and it was the best decision they ever made. And I've seen that. I remember, parents coming up saying to their kids, "I don't buy. The interest rates are too high." And I'm thinking, and then 12 months later they're buying the same home, $100,000 more. So I think,
So you've seen it in your time where, like you said, with rates, good properties will always sell.
Yeah.
And like you said, Jaide, people are always going to, the best time to buy is now.
Yep.
Historically, the market isn't going down.
Exactly.
No,
Let's be real on that.
Yeah.
But guys, we're going to shift gears unless you had another, were you about to say something?
I was going to say, with property, and Jaide, you know this very well, it's a tangible asset. So if you can touch it, you can feel it, you can improve on it. Whereas with the share market, Bitcoin, we've seen gold and silver absolutely take a hammering.
What happened there?
Well, we don't know, but I think the banks sort of, JP Morgan, I don't know, look, I don't want to get too far down. I'm not an expert on that. But what I do know with property, you can actually fix it. You've done some renovations over the time and purchased and then improve the property. How good does it, you make good money out of it.
100% you make good money out of it, and it's a bit of self-satisfaction as well, isn't it? It's like
Absolutely.
seeing something that you bought and you've nurtured and you've made it look so much better, and then it's either, you can choose to keep it or passing it on to someone else. Like, you guys sold the house for me at Mount Erin, and
Yes.
and then that was purchased by a family, a beautiful big mixed, 2 mixed families, and they absolutely loved it. So from what it was when we purchased it, it was a big difference. And I absolutely loved the whole thing. And like you said, being Frankston, there is so much room for growth.
Yeah.
We're going to shift gears, and the question, I actually want to say something onto that, because it's the funniest thing for anyone out there. I met my girlfriend because we were selling Jaide and Reese's place.
That's a great,
and literally right across the road. Now, I know a lot of agents, they love, their ego, and they love to say it's only a stone's throw. Jaide, was it literally across the road where she lives?
Yeah, like I'm facing her front door.
45, 44. It's as, prominent as that.
Yeah.
At least we didn't say where it was. But genuinely the weirdest, coincidental, in my opinion. Now, we're going to play a bit of a game. We've always, Jaide, this is something that we've been doing for the last month. We did a game last week where what did we do? We had 500K, we had $1 million and $1.5 million to spend in, we said 3199, so Frankston South and Frankston. Today, though, it's going to be, you've got to rank it. Is it a myth or is it reality? And there's 4 statements that I'm going to say, and you've got to put your rating in, and it could be different. It's a bit controversial. If you want to talk onto it, you can.
Yep.
So the first statement: if rates go up, buyers disappear.
Myth.
You can't just follow.
I would say
I've just had first-hand experience to this. They do. They pull back. I reckon maybe one in 5 pull back. I would say 20%. I don't think all, because Jaide, you're dealing with them.
You're dealing with,
I don't think all do. I think everyone,
if I had to do a scale out of 10, it'd be 7 out of 10.
that buys.
7 would buy, 3 would jump.
Oh yes, okay. I was like, gee, that's a big odds that the buyers disappear.
No. So I would say there's that many homes on the market, and when it's a sought after area, I would say it's a myth. Yeah.
Then that's what I always say. There's always someone to take your place. If you're not brave enough, or you need to pull back, or you don't have the, to push through, there's always going to be someone to take your place. I say this to all my clients. It only takes one person to buy a house.
It's so funny you say. I always say that. I'm like, there's only one person who can buy it.
And once it's gone,
it's gone.
All you need one to love it, and you're done.
Yep, so true.
And it's not like you can find, unless you're buying in a brand new complex or an apartment complex or something that's exactly identical. It's very hard in the locations that we work.
Yep.
to find, an established property that's had all the work. It's probably, 30, 40 years old. But not myth number 2, game statement number 2 almost.
Did you just give us the answer?
No, I hope not. All right. Waiting for rates to drop always puts buyers ahead.
I would say no.
So myth?
Yeah.
It's a myth.
I'd say that's a myth.
Why?
History tells us.
All right, there we go. That's good enough.
Statistically, if you look at this,
zoom out?
yeah, if you zoom out and you look at when people bought, and then it might have been 6 months there, they've just gone through and then it's just kicked again. So statistically, I would say it's a myth, definitely.
All right, number 3, higher rates means sellers should rush to sell. That's an interesting one. That's a really good one.
I would say that's a myth, but there's an
asterisk on it.
Asterisk next to it. If they are under financial difficulty and they're coming up to that, say they've locked in at a 3% interest rate, for example, and we've seen this, and then the interest rates had consecutive 12. I think was it 11 or 12?
Yeah, it was something wild.
It was something
I think
wild.
11. I think it was.
11 went up, and it went up to 7.1. So when the fix came out after 3 years, they were under duress. Yes, they had to sell, but the majority, I would say 80% of the people, no, they don't have to sell.
Okay. And Jade, your verdict?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, unless you're in financial strife, and you should never have yourself in that position, and that's why you use a good broker.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have got to the point where you can't afford your property, then definitely sell. Like, nothing should affect your lifestyle and home life that much.
Yeah.
But if not, and you can afford it, then, like I said, if you zoom out on property history, property data, yes, there might have been small troughs, but the peaks are a lot higher, and over a long term, you're on an upwards trajectory, I reckon.
When you bring it back to
without doubt,
back to basics, people need places to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, we've seen massive immigration over the last couple of years, and areas that are very affordable, and we're selling in those areas. They're very desirable. So,
and we have a lot of Frankston South is an 81% owner dominated market. So you've got 19% investors.
Yep.
So people will often sell, they'll buy and sell and trade in the same market. So realistically, did it matter? Not so much. Rates don't have a massive implication. Number 4, this is the final one. Hopefully, it's a myth game at the moment. All right, banks price in rate changes before they actually happen.
That can be.
I think Jane could probably answer that better than we could.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you're probably more of it.
This is yes and no, because a lot of people have been contacting me lately because banks are increasing their fixed rate prices. Their fixed rates have pretty much gone up all across the board, and that is a representation of what's happening in the market, and it's a representation of them predicting that the rates are going to go up.
Yeah.
They're obviously not wanting to fix people at lower rates when they know that there's opportunity to make more money. But on the flip side of that, it's like, I completely lost the question there.
No, that's okay. It was if no.
So if the
okay, I'll bring it. Banks price in rate changes before they actually happen.
Yes, all right. This is where I was going with it. So on the flip side of that, in the variable market, the banks will raise variable rates after the rate has been increased. So they do it retrospectively, kind of thing. So they'll wait for the RBA to announce, and then most of them, not all of them, pass it on, but let's face it, good majority of them do. They will then pass on that rate to their variable rate customers. So fixed rates, yes, they do it beforehand. Variable, it's usually after the fact.
After the fact. So question some of the buyers that are probably looking at this podcast, and it's the first time that they're borrowing, and I sort of know the answer, but I want to ask you this. When does the bank pass on, say they're locked in and the interest rates go up and they're on a variable, when does it actually click in? So is it straight away or is it in the next month?
So it depends on the bank. Each one's different. Again, they don't even always pass them on. So some lenders will choose to not pass it on. Most of them do because they know it makes them look really bad if they don't. And it's what their clients are expecting. But if they do pass it on, it generally is within a couple of weeks from it being announced.
Okay. So if it's been announced tomorrow, say Feb 2, is it Feb? No, Feb 3.
3.
Feb 3 and interest rates go up. They should expect it that the month of, if their mortgage repayment was going to be in the first of the month, is it going to be for the 1st of March, or will it take effect in Feb?
It really depends on when the bank
withdraws the money out of the account.
Or it'll be from their next payment after the bank has introduced it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So some first-time buyers have said that, and I sort of knew the answer, and I said, well, look, this is pretty certain this is what happens. I've seen it. So some banks they'll hold off a bit, maybe wait a bit. Some will wait a month before passing it on. Some will do it straight away and announce like by next week this is going to be the new rate. But once they've announced it, once they've implemented it, your next payment will be affected by that. Questioning you as a broker, if the RBA tomorrow talking, seasonal, with the seasonal spending that we had before Christmas and went through the roof, they blamed the Barmy Army. Your mob from England coming along and
why did they do that? I didn't understand.
I don't know. I think the Barmy Army was fantastic for Melbourne. Like mind you, we only had two days of cricket.
Hold on, there's a British guy going around all of Australia. He's called Schooner Scorer, and he rates beers out of 10.
Oh, really?
And he did, it's quite cool. And he did a few with the England guys. So I just thought it was cool. Anyway,
that's cool.
That's off topic.
But we'll get back on. But with that, like if the RBA tomorrow come out and it's all doom and gloom, and they're saying, well, it's not, it could go, we're going to increase it by, say, 0.25%. That's what the general consensus is at the moment. If they're predicting potentially more down the track, how do you see the markets be affected? What's your take?
I don't think it's going to be a dramatic effect. I think that, like we were just saying before, smart buyers will understand that this happens. This is the nature of the beast, right? This is the property market. There's peaks and troughs, there's ups and downs. We can expect to pay a little bit more at certain times, and then it comes back down. I think a smart buyer will not be put off by it. I think for me, getting in the market is more important, especially with the first home owner schemes and stuff that are in place at the minute. So, or no income caps anymore, so you can earn whatever you want. Property price caps increased to $950K in Metro Melbourne. So your stamp duty reduction, it's still under that $600K for the abolishment, or between $600 and $750 for the reduction. So anything above that, you are paying full stamp duty amounts. But we've got buyers there ready with a 5% deposit, no stamp duty payable, getting 80% LVR interest rates. That's a strong market.
Yeah, so they've set up good parameters for the buyers, young people to come in.
So as much as they're trying to, like when the government's saying inflation's gone up, and they put the lever, okay, we're going to increase the interest rates, but we know that it's still hot. How can, like, I'm just asking, playing devil's advocate, how do we know what does the government, where do you see the government in terms of what they're wanting to achieve with
the rate rise? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a bit like what you're saying there. They're saying, oh, everyone's spending too much and everything's going up too much. And then on this side of the, little devil on the shoulder, they're saying, oh, let's give them this, let's give them that. Let's throw more money at them. Let's give them a bit of discounts. It's like...
So you're right. So anything under the million will continue to go well because they've really got that first home buyer. The scheme is fantastic there. But then, like you said, at the start, the investor market will definitely probably wait. But you'll have the smart ones who will go, I know what I'm doing. They've already got their plan.
The investors are going to be sitting there licking their lips and going for it right now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they can snap up some of our homes if they'd like. We've got some beautiful ones.
We've got some great ones coming up,
Let's jump into that actually. Just quickly, our game day summary. We had 2 auctions over the weekend and 2 other properties that are going through to auction. We sold 5 to 7 Pamelia Court in Frankston for $1.208 million. That was a beautiful 1425 square metre property, 2 titles. It was a 4-bed, 3-bath, unrenovated. It was a renovator's delight.
Absolutely.
With a development opportunity. So very unique buy, but it was in a Bolivar Court. Well, not Bolivar Court, but close to.
Well, we knew I was sitting in the car while, just preparing for some notes, etc. And it warms my heart when you're watching the cars stream by. You had the
you would have
Porsche.
loved.
I saw the Porsche. I saw the Rangies, the Range Rovers go past, the BMWs, the Mercedes. They all were there. So people with money, they're still going to turn up. And as soon as I saw that, I jumped out of my car, felt confident because the previous auction we did, which we thought we were going to sell, it was a fizzer. But we have now got people that have come straight after it onto it, which is good.
Well, you got to be confident. You run you've done auctions for so long now that you know what to expect. And as Jaide said at the start, there's only one person who can buy it, and an auction flushes that buyer out.
It flushes out, and it brings serious buyers. But we had a pretty good crowd at that one at 5 at 7 Pamelia. Interesting, the people that I'd sold the home for 20 plus years ago, the whole family came.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And that was great. It was a bit of, I suppose, looking at the property with great eyes, but at the same time, it was disheartening because the home had been left.
Oh, it's beautiful. What are you being touched by?
It was...
Jaide, if you had to see the house,
it needed a lot of work. And I know the family that sold it, they were so prideful and had so many great memories. And this was interesting. I was talking to the owner, or the previous owner, the past owner, and the daughters, and they were like, "Oh, all our friends are going," because they would have parties there. They'd have friends that would drop by from netball, etc. And they're going, "Your place is going to auction. It mustn't look good because they don't have any internal shots." And it was a reflection on that. And that's where, as you know, when you're selling, it's all about presentation. Yep. But some owners don't want to. They're at a point where they're like,
he had a closed pantry, but he also had the open pantry on the wall. And what I mean by that, he'd stacked up. So like you got a wall, he'd made like these little cutouts and put like all his stuff. I was like, that's fascinating, but I'm going to make a joke out of it because at the end of the day, we're selling a house. There's opportunity in every, like you said, in every market.
There was a beautiful pool at the back, and that hadn't been used in 20 years. It was
bloody hell. If you jumped in, you're not coming out.
It was Frog City, and that was one of the lines I used to break the crowd. I had a bit of a laugh, and I said, "Look, you've got a resort style living pool at the back there." And
one of the daughters from the previous owners said that they used to jump from the trampoline. This trampoline,
it's huge.
It's a professional trampoline that was inbuilt. They used to jump from the trampoline into the pool and off the balcony. I'm like, that's crazy because there was concrete. I'm like, how did you make it? They're like, oh, sometimes we didn't. I'm like, did anyone break any bones? Like, what happened? So,
it was a great to see some people that we know in the community, and they came out and supported the previous owner. They were just a bit saddened by the state of the home. Yeah. And look, unfortunately, our owners look beautiful people. They've got things that health, etc., and things happen in life. So they wanted to close the chapter, which we did on Saturday for them, and extremely happy to put that to bed. Now it's one step at a time. So it was like when we were signing the contract, it was like, oh, how do I move all this stuff out? And I'm like, don't stress. We've got 90 days. Well, we need to get moving on to it quick, but we've got the right people. We've got all the right people that you need, and we'll get them onto it. So.
Now, Jaide, I saw, we call it our game day, our Saturday, our inspection day, but I saw you were out hustling, looking for your clients the other week. I think it was last week you went down to the Peninsula. Was that right? That's brokers don't do that.
They don't, no. But this is a very good client of mine. So he is very keen, looking for something down on the peninsula, a bit of acreage, a bit more land, and
nice.
We all know what peninsula traffic is like on public holiday weekends, and he was just not facing it. He's like, I've got the family, I'm not going to be driving all the way down there. I'm like, you know what? Say less. I love property. Let me do it. So, as you guys know, anything property, I love. Renovations, seeing houses, anything. So I was more than happy to get out there. Went round, I think we saw about 6 in the day. They were back to back, and I was like going through them, and it was really good.
That's awesome. Good. Does that inspire you for your future renos and your future plans with your places?
Absolutely, yeah. I think eventually that's my plan. Acreage on the peninsula somewhere.
Beautiful.
Very cool. Now we're going to shift gears again.
Yep.
Merchant mentions. I want to just mention so Frankston and Frankston South has had so many new places come in, especially in the CBD in Frankston. But not only that, Henry's opening up in Coringal is going to be amazing. I'm seeing a lot of people are desperate for that to come in. Yeah, Henry. Is it Mikado? I say Masada.
It's Micado's, and we're big fans. I mean, we've been fortunate enough to. My youngest son, Eli, he works at the Frankston store, and I've had a lot of people reach out and say, "Hey, is that your son?" I'm pretty certain I saw your youngest son working, and he's loving it. He's been on the counters there.
Well, they wouldn't know I'm yours. I get that you're my brother all the time. I got that today. A
beauty.
lady was like, I said, don't flatter his ego anymore. He's already going to stay in real estate until he's out anyway.
But it was funny, Eli. I said to my son, what you've got to do is just make someone's day. And you're going to meet people that are going to be a little bit disappointed in life. They're going to throw your stuff on the counter, but just smile, say, how you going? How was your day? And he's had some really good feedback, which is, he had this two old ladies. They said, "What's your name?" And on the docket, we're going to put your name down. We're going to tell the manager what a good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. He came home. He was really chuffed, and he said, "Dad," and I said, "Well, hey, you make someone smile, you make their day. You've done something good."
That's good.
Yep.
No, good on Eli. He's a good boy.
Yeah.
You
but
raised
getting
him
back
right.
to Henry's.
So Frankston, I was going through and everything's been updated. So you got the beautiful Moondog there, the brewery there. You've got Hotel Lona, which is your old stomping ground, the old toilets I used to clean for you first real estate back in the day. That's very odd to go there nowadays. You got General Public. Isn't there one opening up in Coringal as well, or something similar?
There's a General Public going to be opening up where the old gym used to be.
That's
good life.
Right next to the Village Cinemas. That's
Yes.
So there's a lot going into Frankston. However, those that know me truly well, pizza is big weakness of mine. I have tried to restrain away from it lately because I'm trying to cut some weight. But there is a beautiful new Italian place opening up right above Oliver's Corner. Have you heard of it, Jade?
I was hoping you were going to say this. I am so excited for
Yes.
this. This is what Frankston needs, a decent, really decent, good place to go out and have a nice meal.
Absolutely. And to really captivate and see what Frankston has to offer, look, you can go to Waves and you've got some...
Waves is lovely, actually.
Waves is beautiful. And I think they're updating, they're renovating. There's a new restaurant going in right near the pier. It used to be Sophia's. That's been, I think, putting in a new restaurant there. But above the yacht club, that's where.
Oh, it's above the yacht club.
It's above the yacht club. That is going to be an amazing. So I'm not sure. I saw, I forgot to tell you, Sushi Mango was filming their last, I think it was Australia Day video clip. A lot of it was actually in Frankston Seaford, believe it or not.
Yeah, right.
What
are they doing?
And I was like, I don't know what they're doing, but hey, they have Italian restaurants.
So is that?
I'm just trying to say.
I'm going to try and pronounce the name right. Roccella Lido. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know. I'm not going to have a stab.
ROCCELLA and then LIDO. Surely it's Roccella Lido.
I'm not even going to attempt it. So
Roccella Lido.
Well, we know that Sushi Mango has a great restaurant up in Lygon Street.
Yeah.
And I would love it if they are bringing, because I've heard some really good reports. It'd be great if they were part of it, it'd certainly really lift the area as well. But whoever the owner is, I'm sure they're going to do a great job. It's just going to really, put. I think Frankston's already on the map, but I think we're very spoiled for some great restaurants.
And from a waterfront perspective, if we
absolutely.
need something like that right now, because I was saying, like, if you go to like a Burley Heads, now you can't replicate that, but you get on the water, you see the rocks, you can have a beer there, you can enjoy yourself, and it's a full atmosphere. Frankston, we have one of the best beaches in Victoria.
Absolutely.
If we put something on that that's amazing.
And that building's been empty for so long.
It has.
There's been so many promises.
There was lots. It was interesting when they first did when they built it. Unfortunately, they didn't put a commercial kitchen inside. I'm not sure if you know that.
No, I didn't.
So they didn't have that. They didn't have the fit out. So unfortunately, we had some really. There were some big names that were looking to build restaurants there, but they never got around to it because to build a brand new commercial kitchen. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I think whoever's going to get in there, the Italian restaurant's going to be great. I think we're going to see who's who of Frankston, the Peninsula going there. I think it'll be quite it's going to be fantastic. I really love
And not Italian, but Bang Bang as well.
Oh, yeah.
Bang Bang coming in down near the hop shop.
Yes.
Wait, what? I didn't know this.
Bang Bang are opening up.
How good's that? So
We are on the map, guys.
We are. Remember they used to be in the hop shop for a
Yes,
little bit
yep.
before like COVID times?
Yep.
Well, now they've got their own, it's kind of going in between General Public and Bang Bang, like one of those empty
Oh, that'll
shops.
be
It
great
used to-
because that's right near all the where you've got the hop shop, General Public, and then if it goes in there,
Yep.
that's a game changer.
Yeah.
So I can tell you now, we're getting the best. We're getting. Sorry, my phone's just ringing. Stevie, how are you, mate? Can't take your call. But look, what I was going to say, the great thing is we got lots of business owners and great people with great reputations pouring money into Frankston on a commercial front.
Yeah.
And we know why, and that's been because of the hospital upgrade. We're seeing more and more people coming in. So, yeah, it's a place to be. It's going to
We
be
got Harbour Frankston going in.
Sports
Horizon
Globe
looks amazing.
Sports Globes. I'm talking. Sorry, I know you were talking.
Oh mate, we can pump this.
We can pump this.
3199 is
But
the
if you don't know that
place
we don't
to be.
love Frankston or Frankston South, you must be wrong. But I've been down there. The cafes are just incredible. But the Sporting Globe, you got the NFL grand final. It's not the grand final. What do they call it? The
I don't know. Same thing.
it's a grand final.
The flat? No, not the flat.
It's a playoff, Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, that's going to be in a couple of weeks. You watch Sporting Globe, it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
Tag Sporting Globe on this. We'll pump you up. Get a table for us.
have a Palmer ready for one.
Yeah, have a Palmer ready and a couple of schooners.
They're not a Palmer, just a couple of jugs of beer.
Actually, the chicken wings, they do a good job on the chicken wings, the buffalo chicken wings.
Jade, how much more time do you have, do you reckon?
Similarly, my phone's blowing up, but now I'm good. I'm good for now.
You're good? All right. The only thing I wanted to run through was the last pretty much topic, objections and red flags.
Sure.
For all of us in this industry. So I guess I really wanted to start for you, Jade. What's the biggest misunderstanding borrowers have about rate rises right now?
That I think people think that they're going to cripple them. And it's not the case. We're not talking your rate's going to go up from 5.5 to 7.5. This is going to be a potentially 0.25 basis point rise. So it's going to be going from 5.5 to 5.75. So in terms of dollar figure, you might be looking at, an extra $30 a repayment. I don't
Is that
think
a week or a month?
that'd be usually fortnightly or monthly.
Okay, yep.
And it depends, obviously.
So really
That
a
can
couple of
vary
coffees.
Hugely, correct.
Yeah, a couple of coffees.
It depends on, the loan
No
amount.
more coffees for one year. No more flourish. Sorry.
Depending on the loan amount and things like that. But we're not talking huge numbers. And there are potentials for more to come down the track. We're all hoping for a hold. We're hoping it's not going to. But I think just, like I said, get in the market. You'd rather be in the market than missing out because house prices are not going down.
Yeah.
So waiting for, interest rates to come down, well, the house prices are only going up and you're going backwards.
What's interesting, I find that even the properties that are over 1.5 to 2 mil, they're going to be the ones that buyers probably turn their focus to as well. So like you just said, different markets perform differently.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what's happening with the RBA or the external pressures. Yeah. Another red flag I just wanted to ask, and it's actually a really random question. I don't know if it's going to, if you can't answer it, please tell me. What's an early red flag that tells you someone hasn't given you the full picture yet? And that's from someone trying to use you as their broker.
When you run their credit report and there's 5 credit cards on there and they tell you that they didn't have any.
Oh my God.
Do you get that often?
Look, sometimes, or the best thing is so to do full servicing, we check, people's income, their everyday living expenses, all their assets and liabilities. We build out a full picture. We really need to understand this client's full circle circumstances to know what they can realistically afford. I would never put my clients into a position where I feel like they're purchasing something that they can't afford to pay back. That might put them in a bad position going forwards. Yep. And I'm very big on that. A lot of the time what they'll do is as well, so part of the process is I send out a hello pack, and Josh, you've been through this with me.
I was going to say, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I was just feel like I'm reliving everything that you're talking about, and I'm like, it is intrusive, but it's actually the way you then pack it all together
Yeah.
is unreal.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear. You're almost putting forward a proposal, but in such a clear dynamic.
And that's it. It's like getting all that information so I can build that out properly. But one of the things I also ask clients to do is, include all current liabilities, include your everyday living expenses. The best is when you get it back and their everyday living expenses are $200 a month.
Is that real? You're like, really?
Wow.
Expenses only $200.
Yeah.
What food are you eating?
What food are you eating?
Are you eating
Must
the
be eating
dirt?
rice cakes.
Oh, you're living for $200 a month. I mean, that's impressive. But
Wow.
Yeah, then when we run the bank statements link and stuff like that, and we get a true picture of that, and then we fill out those actual everyday living expenses, I think sometimes it can be a bit confronting
Did
for
I do
clients.
that, Jade?
No, you were good actually. No, yeah, it can
That's
be
interesting.
confronting for clients because they can be like, oh, one, either I didn't realise that I actually spent that much.
Yeah.
Or two, oh, look what she's seen. But you know what? At the end of the day, we have to be honest about that because the banks can see that.
Yeah.
So-
Money's very taboo. I feel like people don't actually like talking about it, but it's the thing that makes the world move.
Absolutely.
Like, let's
Absolutely,
be real on
yeah.
that. So,
Yep.
Dad, I've got a few objections for you.
Far away.
Now, seller objection. Another agent said that they can get more money. So when sellers say this, are they worried about the price or about regret?
I've seen in the past it's regret
Yeah.
because we all have now with the IT technology, pretty much anyone knows what it's worth, and there's a couple of apps you can find out exactly what you paid, and then based on recent sales, etc., and based on the configuration of the home, if you haven't done any work, it'll spit out a number, and you're pretty close to that.
Just on that, with those estimates, would you say that that's when your house is fully presented, like it's been fully styled and it's got everything in it, or is it just like, hey, if I've got my house as it is and I want to walk a buyer through it, it's fine to get them through?
It's interesting because when they do that, it's based on how it was presented last time. So if you've picked up an ugly duckling, for example, and it's on 600 square metres, 3 bed, 2 bath, hasn't been renovated, they'll go off recent sales based on what it was right there and then. So it can't take into consideration the renovations, whether it's put a pergola at the back, deck. They don't know if they can. There is a Google. They actually have a Google feature. I'm not sure if you know. They can do Google Earth. So if you put a pool in, it'll actually generate a report based on Google. So the REA is really...
and RP
it's actually
data, you have to
pretty
lodge,
clever.
if you're doing everything by the book and you're getting your permits and you're getting everything,
It
it
will
shows
take
the
all that
actual
into
cost that you're putting into it. So they'll factor that in.
So they'll factor that
look at
in
the improvement.
and they'll look and go, geez, okay, yeah, they've put a massive deck there. So there's a lot of things that AI are doing. So that number generally will spit out, and it's not far from there. So a lot of the time, look, every agent will say, oh, yeah, I can get you more money. To me, it's a bit of a red flag as a seller because, they're wanting, generally they'll want everything for nothing.
Yeah.
So they'll say, I want $2 million when it's worth 1.5. And then you'll go in with a fee and you'll say, look, my fee is between 2.5 or say 2.5% thereabouts. I know the other agent's doing it at 1.5%. Well, go with them. So those red flags straight away, if they don't see the value in what we do and what we bring and how we go about it, well then at the end of the day, you're better off just letting another agent have that, and then maybe on the second time round we might be able to pick them up. But to me, you're wasting time.
Yeah. No,
resources. You get a phone call from an owner. Oh shit, not that guy. I don't want to talk to him. What can I tell him? Like I'll pick up the phone and go, "G'day, boss. Yep. Yeah, nothing to report. We haven't got any buyers. Oh, that's your fault. No, it's not. It's yours. See you later."
Yeah, it's not a process you want to run. If you're going to run a process, you want to hit it with momentum.
Yeah.
And if you don't have buyers interested, then there's clearly something wrong. If you've got a good agent, they're going to be making sure that the presentation's done correctly, the promotion's done correctly, and if you have got a correct pricing strategy, then you should have a lot of buyers walking through
You'll
your
have
property.
buyers, yeah, correct.
Yep. There was a buyer objection which said, I'm waiting for rates to drop. But as Jade said, guys, best time to sell is right now. And guys, there's always going to be another buyer out there. That's
Best time to
Jade's
buy.
advice.
You said buy.
As a
sell.
buyer objection.
You didn't say sell.
No, I said buyer objection.
I thought, no, but when you said it's the best time to sell.
Oh, best time to buy. Sorry. Sorry, we're in the selling perspective.
You're in the selling perspective.
All right.
That's it, yeah.
That is
Got you there.
well played. All right. last verdict, because we didn't really get to spit out what we think is going to happen. RBA doing the announcement tomorrow. What's the likelihood? Are they going to rate rise, rate hold, or rate drop? I mean, I laughed at the end. What do we reckon?
I reckon we're either going to hold, if anyone's got, an ounce of sense, but we're either going to hold or a small 0.25 base increase. I
like that. And then just let's add on a bit of sense. You heard that, Reserve Bank of Australia? A bit of sense.
Bit of common sense. Especially for those people out there that are looking to enter the market. Look, I think, based on the fixed interest rates all getting moved up by all the banks, clearly therein lies probably a clue as to what will happen tomorrow. I think a small rate rise of, say, 0.25% would be good. If they went 0.5%, I think that would send shock waves. And that would, I don't know, with this current government, you don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to be honest. We're blaming the Barmy Army, seasonal shopping. Ultimately, we knew that.
But they create narrative. There's going to be
narratives. Yeah, absolutely. However, I just think if they did have common sense, and common sense is hard to come by these days, it would be good to be put on hold. However, my prediction is 0.25%.
Disappointing though, because Christmas is the season of giving.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then they come out and then they go, okay. And now this hasn't happened. We don't know what's going to happen, but it would be great, I think, if they can at least give a bit more certainty in the marketplace instead of all this uncertainty, this conflict, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's for this whole day. It's like, don't buy into the fear of the media.
Correct.
I do think that they're going to raise it. You can't. It'd be weird if they didn't, based on all the media attention. But like we said, the government have, they've done things that are.
Talking to a good broker, gives you an understanding, and they sort of have an idea on what to do, whether you get fixed or variable. That would be, Jaide, you're all over that. So
I do want the viewers, if anyone is looking just to get some advice, know where their numbers lie. Jaide, how do they get in contact with you? What's the best? We'll put your details, but what's the best way?
Best way, you can either give me a call 0406 499 606 or send me an email, Jaide with an I at electofinance.com.au, and I'll pop all my social details below. So always open for a no obligation chat just to get an idea around your current situation and what that might look for you going forwards.
Fantastic.
Awesome, guys. We are all done. I had no more questions. Does anyone else have any questions? A big thank you to the viewers that are still here right now watching this whole video. We really appreciate the support. But is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, let's just fingers crossed for
any
tomorrow.
Fingers crossed they don't raise these buggers.
Yeah. Look, hopefully, but we know, it's the unknown. But we'll be able to chat about it next week, Josh, as we'd always do. But thanks, Jaide. Thanks for coming in. And
much appreciated. Thank you for spending the time, middle of your day, talking about these interest rates. We love it, and we really appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jaide.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit that follow button. I know that there's like a lot of you that are not following us. We've only got 6 subscribers. What's that about, guys? Dad's hoping for like 1,000 over here, so he's putting the pressure on me. Let's get those numbers going up. No, you got to say it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.
See you, mate.
That was good.